Thanks for joining us here on 13 News at noon. I'm Felicia Lawrence, and we actually have breaking news to start. Less than 45 minutes ago, a jury found Orlando Mitchell guilty of murdering his ex-girlfriend. She was killed outside of a downtown daycare. So we have video. This video is from a previous hearing. Cameras have not been allowed in the courtroom for this trial. Crystal Walton had just dropped off Mitchell and her one-year-old son. That's when she was shot and killed. It happened at 10th Street and Holmes Avenue in September of 2022. Walton had a protective order against Mitchell. Today, a jury also found him guilty of violating that protective order. Mitchell's attorneys did not call a single witness. They actually rested without offering any evidence in this trial. Our Rich Nye is in the courtroom this afternoon. We're going to have much more on this starting at 13 News at 4, as well as on our mobile app. Now to our other big story we're following today. Sean Ash is in. He is following this weather impact alert day. So right now we're tracking freezing drizzle and a messy wintry mix that's coming to central Indiana a little bit later.
And depending on your location, the roads may be wet or the roads could be icy and very dangerous here as the day unfolds. So let's show you what's going on. We'll start with current time. And yes, we've had a little freezing drizzle. Now I know the winter weather advisory doesn't technically start until 1 p.m. but we've already had some reports of bridges and overpasses getting a little icy. Now this is a map that we're going to be watching like a hawk here today. This is road temperatures and it's doing a pretty good job on accuracy. Right now in the metro area, roughly just a degree or two above freezing. And 1 or 2 degrees, it's going to make or break some areas in terms of the pavement's wet or it's a little more of a skating rink like setup. The farther north you go, of 70, the north of 465, you up the ante of getting ice accumulation. Right now we're 30 for an air temperature in Indy and 20s from Lafayette, Kokomo, and Muncie. Little hint of where the higher ice impact will be when all of this gets in here. And by the way, it's over St. Louis now. It'll be here much later this afternoon. We're talking generally a little after 3, between 3 and about 6, 7 o'clock. This thing's going to expand over central Indiana, and that's when we'll start to get higher rates of sleet, higher rates of snow, which will be heavy at times. And you can see that dividing line might be falling right across Marion County and right across I-70, okay? Bottom line though, we are expecting some rather messy travel, dangerous travel conditions as we go through midnight and even tomorrow morning. Gonna have some icy patches to contend with. We'll run down the snow and ice zones, 7-day forecast as well. Coming up here in a few minutes, we'll see you then.
All right, thank you so much. And as Sean just said, it is on the way. That's why you want to get these real-time alerts about this storm on your phone. And you can do that by downloading our live Doppler 13 weather app. It is a free download in your phone's app store. New at noon, a 19-year-old man has been arrested for allegedly shooting a woman to death back in December of 2023. Tyrese Rendell is now facing formal charges of murder and robbery resulting in bodily injury. 18-year-old Ariel Calhoun was killed in that shooting. It happened on December 3rd, 2023 on Crest Lane. That's near Hague Road and East 75th Street. Calhoun was shot just a few blocks from her home. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Police tell us a warrant for Rendell's arrest was issued on Friday. They found him on West Moore Street near South Girls School Road. His initial hearing is set for tomorrow. Also this afternoon, we are learning that a 26-year-old man has been charged in connection to a deadly shooting Sunday morning. Gareth Henderson is facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of causing death, operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. Simone Pryor, a passenger in Henderson's car, was killed in this crash. This happened early February 9th on East 10th Street near North Post Road. Henderson has an initial hearing tomorrow. And 13 News is working to learn the condition of a man that was seriously hurt in this fire you see right here. At last check, he's still in critical condition. This happened on Byron Avenue near 38th Street in the Buckler-Tarkington neighborhood, and that's about 1 block east of the main entrance to Crown Hill Cemetery. Indianapolis firefighters have shared these pictures from outside the home as well as inside the home. Neighbors told firefighters the victim was squatting inside the vacant house, which did not have any working smoke alarms. And over the last few months, a task force has been working to figure out how to decrease or even eliminate the number of pedestrian and cyclist traffic deaths in Marion County. Our Logan Gay shares the progress that has been made by Vision Zero.
The Vision Zero Task Force sat here for the second time since it was formed to update the community about the progress that's been made and to lay out the next steps going forward.
We're all tired of almost being killed on the roadways. We want people-focused streets and we want safe streets.
Jacob Morales with the Bike Indianapolis Advocacy Committee is one of the many people who pushed for the creation of the Vision Zero Task Force after hundreds of accidents and dozens of deaths last year. It's a personal issue for Morales after he was hit twice while riding his bike last fall. It's a big reason he's excited to see the task force plan unfold.
I feel more heard. It seems that they've taken our concerns of transparency and timeliness into consideration. You know, we've seen how many people have died since this was first introduced, and people will continue to be hit and killed, every day. So there's a sense of urgency here.
So far, the task force has made progress on launching a public engagement effort, working on hiring a Vision Zero administrator, and analyzing data that will help the task force form an action plan. But Task Force Chair John Barth says this is a marathon, not a sprint. Because of Marion County's unique challenges, like the state's funding formula, one of the major roadblocks is funding.
We don't retain all the infrastructure dollars that we generate. In fact, other counties in Indiana get money from Marion County. So if we could retain all the money that we generated in taxes for infrastructure, we'd be in a different position.
Also on the task force is IMPD Chief Chris Bailey. He says even though they're still short-staffed, IMPD is prioritizing Vision Zero and road safety by adding 5 additional officers to their traffic unit.
This is an everyone problem, whether you're a driver or you're walking or you're pedaling to wherever you're going. We all have some responsibility to make sure we get from point A to point B safely. Which for Morales means they're one small step closer to their goal.
We're moving in a positive direction. More needs to be done, and we need more funding to address these issues.
The task force plans to host multiple public meetings throughout the year, and they plan to report the progress to the City County Council each quarter and on their website. In Indianapolis, Logan Gay, 13 News.
An IMPD sergeant is resigning from the department after she was charged with theft. Sarah Lampkin is accused of stealing nearly $200 worth of merchandise from Target. According to police, she left the force instead of going through the termination process. Lampkin is a 17-year veteran. And right now, a bill at the State House is working to prevent misidentifying suspects and wrongful convictions. Senate Bill 141 would establish guidelines for police when identifying suspects during lineups. Lawmakers say the bill would prevent eyewitnesses from misidentifying a suspect, which could lead to wrongful convictions. The bill also addresses facial recognition technology, requiring police to have other evidence to support identification. Several experts who work on exonerating wrongly convicted people testified in support of this bill. It could be considered by the full Senate as early as today. And the Department of Education is asking the Indianapolis-based NCAA to erase records set by transgender athletes. Just last week, the NCAA changed its participation policy. According to the organization, only athletes assigned female at birth can take part in women's sports. Well, this week, President Trump signed an executive order aimed at banning transgender athletes from competition. The Department of Education also sent a letter requesting the changes to the National Federation of State High School Associations. And the ACLU is suing Indiana State University for blocking a Pride Festival. So the group is asking a judge to force ISU to host Pride Fest 2025 on campus this August, and they're citing First Amendment rights. However, ISU has already secured an agreement with the city of Terre Haute to hold a Pride Fest off campus at a city park. The ACLU believes hosting the festival on campus will demonstrate to new students that Indiana State University is a welcoming school. The Pacers, they are on their way to the nation's capital, and they're looking for some redemption after they lost to the Knicks 128-115. Knicks center Karl Anthony Towns was on fire, putting up 40 points. Josh Hart also added 30 points for the Knicks, and Pascal Siakam led the Pacers with 24 points. Also, Tyrese Halliburton, he put up 16. The team is back on the court tonight to play the Wizards. Tip is at 7 p.m. And Doug Bowles is taking the wheel ahead of this year's Indy 500. Bowles will step into the role as president of IndyCar. He will also keep his position as president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Penske Entertainment made this announcement yesterday. They're touting Bowles' decades of experience in motorsports and his past contributions to the Indy 500. He replaces former President Jay Fry, who held the role for the last 10 years.